If you've not yet begun your football commentary journey, or you're wanting to take it forward, maybe even professionally, you might be thinking to yourself, where do I start? Or what's my next step? In this episode of Sheepskins for Goalposts, I'll be offering some advice to help you answer those questions.
And he scored!
Learning to do something well often requires more than just natural talent and a qualification. It requires a lot of practice, and football commentary is no exception. When it comes to getting started, practice can be done anywhere. You don't need fancy equipment or a press pass for an actual match. You can do it in the comfort of your own home. The simplest form of practice is turning down the volume on your TV and just describing the action that's taking place in front of you. Print out the teams, do a little research, and just start talking. You could commentate on a group of friends playing football in the park. You know their names, you know their backgrounds, and given that they're your friends, it takes away that fear and self-consciousness of commentating in front of people you don't know. It also gives you license to be creative and let your personality come out a bit more. You could even sit in on a couple of friends who are playing FIFA and be their personal commentator. The graphics are so good, it's the next best thing to commentating on a real match. Another option is asking your local team if they wouldn't mind if you did some commentary practice during one of their games. If they have seating, try to get up as high as you can. Give yourself a good vantage point from which to commentate from. There are several different ways to get started and practice without the need to be at a higher level match. And one thing that you must do while you're practicing is record your commentary. These days, there's no reason not to. You don't need a microphone, headphones, and specialist recording equipment. Most modern smartphones have built-in voice recorders and will do the job adequately enough. And once you have everything recorded, the next step is to listen back to what you've got. Reviewing your commentaries and reports is an essential part of getting better as a commentator. I did it religiously in the early stages of my career and still occasionally listen back now to see if I can make further improvements. In the early days, my dad and my sister would record my reports from the radio onto cassette so that I could hear them back the next day. In terms of how you go about reviewing your own commentaries, there will be a lot of things to work on if you're just starting out. Don't feel overwhelmed or be disheartened by what you need to improve on. Becoming a better commentator is a gradual process that will take time. There is no fast-track route. Initially, you'll listen back and you'll find plenty of elements you're not happy with. You may feel that you need to project your voice more or rein it in a little. You may need to slow down. You might leave too much dead air where the gaps seem painfully long, and you may well lose control of your voice on goal shouts. These are just some of the common problems when you're starting out. The way to remedy them is initially list everything you think needs addressing. You may produce a list as long as your arm, but that's perfectly fine. It's impossible to work on all of them when you come round to do your next commentary. Just concentrate on 2 or 3 aspects of what needs improving and make them your focus of attention for the next couple of commentaries. Then, once you're happy that you've improved on them, move on to the next 2 or 3 and continue that process. Otherwise, if you try to solve all the issues all at once, you'll be overwhelmed and it'll get you nowhere. And don't be too hard on yourself to begin with. If you can, get someone else to listen to a segment of your commentary so that they can give you third-party feedback. That can be really useful. Even if you don't know a commentator, anyone who likes football is a good sounding board. Remember, they are the people who listen to football commentary and they'll be able to offer general feedback and tell you whether it's a good listen or not. If you don't know a commentator and you haven't already visited the Sheepskins for Goalposts Patreon page, I do offer personal video critiques of your recorded commentaries and also live one-on-one tutorials. So when you get the chance, head over to the SFG Patreon page. The link is in the description below. While listening back to ourselves is vitally important, listening to others, particularly professional commentators, also helps with our development. We all have our favourite commentators. What is it about the way they commentate that makes us enjoy listening to them? Go away and listen to that commentator. Make notes on what they do well and what makes their commentaries engage you. You may even be able to incorporate what they do well in your own commentary. Who you contact for opportunities depends on the level you're at and the level you ultimately want to get to. If you're literally starting out, then I recommend doing a decent amount of practice using some of the methods I mentioned earlier in this video before launching yourself at prospective clients. You need to be conscious of the level you're at. Even if you have a burning ambition, boundless energy, and an unshakable determination to work professionally at the highest level in radio and TV, you have to be realistic about your progression. As enthusiastic as you might be, there's little point in contacting BBC Match of the Day in the UK to see if they've got any work going when you've only been doing practice off the telly for a couple of months. Try and work out where, realistically, your next step could take you. Like me and many others, you may have to start out as more of a reporter than a commentator. Either way, the grounding and experience you get is invaluable. Ask your local team if you can commentate on their games. You could suggest live streaming your commentary so that any of the club's fans, friends, or family who can't attend can listen to it. It's certainly a way of getting some feedback. Offer to help out on a Saturday at your local radio station if they have a sports show. Some professional clubs still do commentaries for the blind and visually impaired. Basically, list potential places where you could look to get in, but put them in a level of progression so that you're not knocking on doors that realistically won't open, however hard you try. If you do have ambitions to do commentary professionally on a full-time basis, be prepared to work voluntarily when you start out. It may even be at a loss when you take into account travel costs and food. But believe me, it will stand you in good stead. For those looking to make commentary a career at some point down the line, you'll need to showcase what you can do in the form of a TV show reel or radio voice reel. Unlike many jobs where a CV and an application form are enough for a prospective employer, a show reel or voice reel are the most important things when it comes to promoting yourself. They are your calling cards. You might be able to write the best covering letter and be a master in an interview scenario, but that counts for nothing if the people you're contacting can't hear your voice or your style of commentary. They're busy people who may not even pay much attention to your covering letter and CV. The first thing they want to do is listen to your voice. And remember, not everyone is going to like your voice and style. It's a subjective industry, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're not a good commentator. And even if they do like you, they may not have any openings. You may have to be patient before getting your opportunity. When it comes to the professional level, the reality is that only a modest percentage will make it. Some of them will have a really good career at the highest level, either earning permanent contracts, seasonal deals, or regular freelance gigs with one or more employers. But given the amount of football being broadcast these days, the opportunities at all levels are far greater than they were when I started out in 1993. The important things are practice, 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 review your work, learn from others, get out there and believe in yourself. Those things will take you a long way.